I'm loud enough without it, but good. Can you hear me now? No. Can you hear me now? Now I can hear me. Welcome. Thank you for coming. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Kathleen Shire. My day job is with the legal department doing standards and practices. But one of my passions here at A&E Networks is the Green Team. So before we get to Christine, who is phenomenal, I want to take this opportunity because the Green Team isn't in front of a lot of people all the time. We have a core group of volunteers who are small but mighty. And we kind of went through a reboot last year. And this year, we're trying to focus on some very specific things to do here at the company. And the first is Earth Week. So you probably noticed the emails that we were sending out with tips of the day. We also joined with a nonprofit called One Tree Planted. We're still collecting on that, but that is to plant trees in California where they were devastated by the wildfires. So it's $1 for each tree. And I have to say, so far, we've raised $1,500, so 1,500 trees can be planted. And I'd like to, by the end of April, get that up to 2,500. So keep going. But this week we joined with the wellness group to do this event today, and then another event tomorrow, which is a combination of meditation and seed planting. So that's tomorrow at noon, and I hope you will all come out for that as well. And then as we move forward in the year, we're going to go back to our farm share, and we're going to start that in June. That was really popular last year. We're going to stick with the same group this year called Rustic Roots. And then in November, we're going to be doing some events around National Recycle Day. So we would love any additional members. If you're interested, you can email us at greenteam@anenetworks.com. But to get to today and Christine, she's got a really great story. I'm not going to infringe upon it. She can tell it in her own words. But we were really excited because it does bring together both wellness and green in terms of finding products that are clean for our bodies and clean for the earth. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Christine.
Thank you, Kathleen. Thank you so much. Thank you. It's great to be here. I want to thank you, Kathleen, Angela, Zena, where are you, for bringing me here. It's really an honor to be able to share my story with you. And I'm going to speak for about 20 minutes, and then we'll open it up to Q&A. I'm very open. You can ask me any question. I hope that you do. And we can kind of uncover the toxins that we have in our home. So my story started about 3.5 years ago. I have a company called the Good Home Company. And the Good Home Company is a natural cleaning products company. I've had it for 24 years. I started it in my kitchen here in New York City on a dream. I actually, back in the day, worked for A&E. Not here at the offices, but I was a copywriter. I worked for an ad agency that supplied copy. You guys were a great client, so yeah. And I was just out of school. I went to Parsons School of Design. I was a writer, and I was sitting around, and I was unhappy. I was trying to find my joy. I just wasn't in the right place. And so the Good Home Company was born, and fortunately for me, it was a big success. We created natural cleaning products that weren't around then. Now, of course, you have so much to choose from, which is wonderful. But during that time, there really wasn't much. And so I started combining. I said, why? I come from a family of farmers. I'm originally from Bowling Green, Ohio. Anyone from Ohio here? Hey, hey. What's round in the top and high in the middle, right? Ohio. You're from Bowling Green as well? Amazing, BGSU. My mom went there, my mom and dad. So farming is fifth generations. My cousin's doing it now, and I've always worked from the land. I would spend all my summers there with my grandmother and my grandfather, and they would teach me how to grow corn, how to grow onions, putting it into your food, and really respecting the earth. So I envisioned at that time a company that could do that with cleaning products. No one was doing it. I said, why, use baking soda and water and vinegar? That's really kind of all we need, and it should smell natural. Why do we have all these chemicals and such? So that happened, and we were an Inc. 500 company 2 years in a row. Successful. We actually did a licensing deal with Clorox. My company was given back to me. It didn't go through. The CEO decided that he wanted to give everything back, and so I've gone up and down, and that's a whole other book. But one would think that that was the end of my story. But as I said, 3.5 years ago, I was sitting doing spreadsheets. I was in a place where I wasn't particularly happy, and I got a call from my doctor on my mammogram, and it turned out that I had breast cancer. Now, when you get that diagnosis, no one really you're never prepared for it. No one thinks, I think everyone's first response is, what? You sure? I'm sure everyone says, are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. So within, my mother had also had breast cancer, and fortunately we had a great surgeon, and I was one of the lucky ones. I had stage 0-1. I had a lumpectomy. I did radiation for 6 weeks, and I was given a clean bill of health. During that 6 weeks, I sat amongst people who didn't have that clean bill of health. I had a girlfriend who was also diagnosed at the same time with ovarian cancer, died 6 weeks later. I had my best friend, who was also my attorney, die from kidney cancer within 6 weeks, both in their 40s. My husband has had prostate cancer, my mother has had cancer, and my mom's, one of my girlfriend's husband, he had stage 4 colon cancer, and fortunately he's doing great. So, but wow, huh? Right? A lot of cancer. And it was a wake-up call. I sat around and, and my girlfriend was going through the diagnosis with her husband at the same time. And she said to me, Christine, you've got to do something about this. You have to spread the word. I think this is your mission. And I sat and thought about it, and I started uncovering all these things that were exposed to me as a person who has a natural cleaning products company. Why am I getting it? So that was my deep dive into what you're going to see today on the PowerPoint, but also in the book called Detox Your Home. And Detox Your Home is a good year of research going into every single product that we had in our home, from our food to our clothing to the electronics to the air we breathe. So join me on this, and I hope that I hope you do have questions, and I hope that it's revealing, and that somehow that I can also bring some health and healing to you and help you to make those choices that are best for you and your family. So, okay, here we go. So detox your home, how to remove toxins and bring health to your home. What does toxin-free mean? What does that mean to everyone? Like healthy, that you're not gonna get sick, that, Well, toxins are things and ingredients that are actually in our air. And we were just discussing that there is no toxin-free place on Earth right now. Even water, you could go up into the Colorado mountains and breathe the air. You could go to the top, you could go to Mount Everest and get to the top of that. And toxins, because of all the manufacturing that we have done and the industrialization of our world, the BPAs are in the air, the phthalates are in the air, and the pollutants are in the air. So we do not live in a toxin-free world. But the good news is that we can reduce them. And we can reduce them significantly. So your toxins are everywhere. In your food. In the food, some instance for toxins are dyes, plastic packaging, pesticides, GMOs, and it's also depleting the environment, and it's causing waste and climate change. Household products, so we know about this. So the air fresheners, right? We go around, we want to clean our home, and we want it to smell fresh, right? Well, the air fresheners that we're using are actually carrying VOCs, which are volatile organic compounds, and these can actually inflame our lungs and cause asthma. Many people, I'm going to get into the household products, many people think that it's also the fragrance that is the trigger for asthma, and this is the case, but in products such as Tide, the Tide detergent has ingredients in it that the top 10 ingredients cause asthma and respiratory illness. The top 10 ingredients. And my detergent has 4 ingredients, by the way. So and Tide has something around 25. And then lastly, we're going to get to our stuff. Now, I'll touch a little bit on this, and I hope you'll go into the book and you can take a deep dive, and all the information is in there. But what about flame retardants, RF waves from our cell phones? Were they really studied? Were they studied? They actually weren't. We don't have that much information, and we keep getting, we want more Wi-Fi, right? We want 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G, or where are we up to now? Is it 4G? Okay, so the more power, the more of that. Those are waves, okay, that are transmitted through us. That is called RF pollution. And then of course lead, which we think that lead's gone with paint. Unfortunately, that's not the case. So let's start with food. I pulled up this. I thought this was kind of funny. So do you also eat these with a mask on? So we're going to go into our food toxins. So plastic packaging. So many people here know that, we got to stay away, right? We carry around our water bottles, right? And we're not going to drink out of plastic. Or that, we know that our babies' bottles need to be BPA free. Well, plastics are in our food everywhere. Our meats are wrapped in it. Our vegetables are wrapped in it. Our cereals are wrapped in it. Our flour's wrapped in it. I mean, tell me one thing that isn't wrapped in plastic. You go in the grocery store and it's all there. Because of this, the BPAs and the phthalates, which are part of manufacturing the plastic, are in our food. And we're ingesting it. And everyone here, if we did a urine test, we would all have it in there. What does that mean, though? Okay, BPAs and phthalates. Well, BPAs and phthalates are linked directly to your endocrine system. So if you have a thyroid disorder, or if you are overweight, if you can't conceive, if you have a child that's developing early, these are all causes. This is all from BPAs and phthalates. Colorants. So colorants in our foods they're either made from coal or petroleum. Okay, that's oil. And in the EU, that they're labeled properly. I know a lot of us know that in the, if it's in Europe, they have higher regulations. Well, they do. And the colorants there, for instance, in McDonald's, they have strawberry sundaes there, and they'll use natural strawberries to color the sundae. Here in the US, we use red 40. Okay? And this is all because we don't speak up. All right, so I'm going to get to that. I was in Washington yesterday and I spoke up, so I'm going to keep doing that, but we'll get to that. Pesticides. So why should we eat organic, right? You think about this organic, is it worth it? It's more expensive, et cetera. Well, the pesticide use, the reason why we should eat organic is because we're supporting an industry that is using less chemicals and less pesticides. And the pesticides aren't only harmful in your foods that you're eating, but it's harmful to the ground. It's hurting our earth. Our soils are getting depleted everywhere, and we need to go back to organic. It's entirely possible we can do this. This isn't stuff that can't be done, but it's because we're in an industrialized world and everyone wants things cheaper. And we'll find that cheaper isn't necessarily better. And then environmental destruction. So stuff such like beef. Now, the Meatless Monday. Does everyone do Meatless Monday? Or are you eating less meat? Or, I mean, I'll give you the reasoning for that. I gradually went from, after my diagnosis, I went from eating, meat pretty much once a day, at least once a day, to not eating it at all. And the reason for that is twofold. One is that it's hard to get clean meat now. The industrialization of our beef, it's a manufacturing process that is really overdone. But the second part is really ruining our environment. So we're taking down forests, which are helping us to get rid of the CO2 emissions and combat climate change, right? We're cutting down those forests, making way for our beef and our cattle industry. And the beef and cattle take up more water than a human does. So to raise a baby calf to its age of where it's going to go to slaughter takes about 4 times more water. Okay, so it's depleting us of all this, and we have all this meat, and then it's also not good for us, right? It's found that more doctors have shown study after study that it's to do a plant-based diet is the best thing for you. Okay, next. So household products. This is my industry. So household products, we have this idea that cleaning is healthy. I fell into that, right? Before I started Good Home Company, I was queen of bleach. I would go into my bathroom and, oh my God, right? Thank you. The bleach was everywhere, that Clorox cleanup and all that, and I nearly died one time. I mean, you have to, like it says, open the doors, and there's no one has a window in New York City in their bathroom, right? No one, and here I am, and I'm just scrubbing, and I'm nearly passing out and all that, and I, didn't even think twice about it. Okay, bleach. Guess what? If you use bleach too much, there's a higher incidence of respiratory illness in your home. So your children are more likely to get bronchitis and have coughs, and that coughs that's going around. Too much bleach causes illness. Who would, but they don't want you to know that. They don't teach that to you. Our shampoos, our conditioners, our body creams, everything, think about everything that you use on your body. And I will tell you this, I feel bad for all of us because we've all been lied to, right? I honestly believe that what's on our shelf should be safe. We should not have to think about this. I don't want you to have to think about it, which is why I'm going to DC and I'm trying to get legislation in place to regulate this. Because it should be, if you're spending your good money on it, you shouldn't have to think about it. My grandmother, for instance, she smoked back in the 30s and 40s. She's passed since, and she quit. But she said to me, honey, she goes, we didn't know they were bad for us. They never told us that. We thought they were healthy. I never would have taken it up. So I believe in that. But for now, in the book, you're going to have, I list all the ingredients. You're going to go through, and I want you to look at it. Mainly, there's things such as sulfates. So the stuff that you're putting on your body, and I also want to tie in this part. If our earth is not healthy, we're not going to be healthy. We are directly related to our earth. And the shampoos that we put down the drain that go down, there's how many of us in the world now? It's all going down in the drain. It's all going into our water system. It's not some magical place. So you want to really take a look at those ingredients. The next thing is laundry detergent. So Tide. Tide, the top 10 ingredients have, I know. Do you love Tide? I know. Okay, so let's talk about Tide. I'm going to give you an experiment. I was on HSN. So we did about 2 years ago. We were on HSN and we were selling our laundry detergent, and I had to do a test. How they do the before and after, and how does it compare? And so I haven't had Tide in my house in years, right? And I washed one shirt in it. And same shirt, I went and I got 2 different shirts and, same shirt, but, anyhow, washed them and it came out. Now, Tide had a coating on it. So when I looked at the ingredients, right, I did a deeper dive into it. It cleans it to the point where it's going to take out the coloring, okay? It's going to damage the fibers. It's going to really give it a detergent clean. So then they have to fix that, right? So then they put in another chemical. They put in silicone. There's silicone in Tide. There's silicone in Tide that puts a coating on your clothing, right? That's going to make it shiny. So that's why the darker colors stay darker longer, right? They actually put ingredients in there for it. Unfortunately, those ingredients do cause respiratory illness, and those ingredients are staying on your clothing. They're putting it's a coating on your clothing, right? And so your children are wearing it, and you wonder like, oh, okay, well, I'll do the laundry and I'll send them outside. But if you send them outside, as soon as they put that shirt on it, they're wearing it all day. It took me 5 times washing my shirt again in my own detergent to get all that stuff off. Okay, so laundry detergent is pretty important. You don't have to buy necessarily, you don't have to buy Good Home. I'm not here doing that, but there's plenty out there that you could go to that are reasonably priced now. Just stay away from those big store brands. Preservatives, parabens, everyone probably knows to go paraben-free, methylparaben. A lot of people have serious reactions to parabens and preservatives. If you can, make your own, go preservative-free. It's very difficult to do that. The first thing to go bad in a formula is water. Okay, so most formulas have water in it, and they have yet to build a better preservative now. You can use certain things that, anything without water can handle no preservatives, which is great for your skincare. But if it has water, you have to put something in it. Vinegar just isn't going to work for that long. The next thing is your toddlers and your pets. So that Swiffer, who has a Swiffer? I know, she's like, I know, I'm killing you. I'm sorry, but actually I'm not. I'm bringing wellness into your life. I promise you, I promise. It's eye-opening. Okay, so does anyone have dogs that itch all the time? Anyone ever had that problem with their dogs and their cats and they're constantly scratching? You ever make that correlation to the floor soap? What? Yeah, you never really thought about it, right? Or you took him to the vet. I took my dog to the vet. He's got another hot spot. He's itching all the time. He's got contact dermatitis, right? Where is he getting the contact dermatitis from? Well, what happens is you mop your floor, and the first thing that they want to do is go lay on the wet floor. I don't know why, but they do. And it gets on their fur. And then they start licking it off, and it's also on their skin, right? And so this is irritating them. It's so the Swiffer is NG. It's no good. It's no good. But it doesn't mean that you can't find something out there. A Murphy's Oil Soap is have you used that? Okay, so that's a decent brand. We make a floor soap that is specifically formulated for pets, and I know that they probably have them at Petco. And I would recommend that. But the Swiffer is such high perfume and such high chemical content, and you're really not cleaning the floors. You're better off. You know what I love? Have you heard of the Hans Steam Mop? Has anyone ever tried that? The Hans Steam Mop, it's a QVC item, but you can buy it direct from them. I saw it one day, and it actually really works. In other countries, they steam their floors. People eat, it's traditional to have a family dinner on the floor. They have to be clean. Steaming it sterilizes it. It's actually the best clean that you're going to get, and you don't even need the soap. It's just water. Yeah. Yep. The more you know, right? Okay, so our stuff, cell phones, mattresses, children's toys, they're all susceptible to toxins. The mattress one really got me, and this is a tough one. Our mattresses, our furniture, they're all doused with flame retardants, okay? And flame retardants are really high in endocrine disruptors. Okay, they were shown to be carcinogens, and there's a woman, her name's Arlene Bloom, and she spent her entire life in the 1970s. It's an interesting story. People were really smoking cigarettes, really going at it, right? And they were smoking in bed, and they were dying. And the government had said to the cigarette manufacturers, "I need you to make a safer cigarette." Well, you're not going to make a safer cigarette, right? They didn't want to go through all that trouble, but they said, let's create a chemical that we can douse all our furniture with, so when people are smoking in bed, it won't go up in flames. Now, the first thing you need to know is that if you are indeed, and this is a true story, all documented, everything, and I want you to know too, in the book, everything is documented. There's end notes. I didn't go to any sites that were remotely questionable. It's in fact documented in .gov from our government. So anyhow, so they created this chemical, and they were putting it on everything, and people were still dying, but they weren't going up in flames. So the doctor, the woman, Dr. Arlene Bloom, she was working, and she was looking at it, and she said, you know what, these are carcinogens. She was able to find that what they were putting on was causing cancer. That was what started the EPA. Nixon was president. He took a look at it. He listened. The EPA was started. We had regulations came about through that, and they took that off the market. Well, it's still available now in areas like China. It's still used overseas. And they came up with a new one. Instead of getting rid of it, we have a new one. So what is this? I call them the silent killers, and this is why they're really important, is because you get in bed and you don't realize it. My own bed has it. I didn't know it. You can't smell it. You can't see it. You don't know it's there, but it's doused with it. It doesn't mean you have to go out and spend $5,000 on an organic mattress. What you should do, though, is you can go to IKEA, and you can spend $500 and get one that's not doused in flame retardants, and IKEA has made that commitment. So it's more reason to even shop there. Their furniture and their mattresses are no longer use flame retardants, and it's really important. If you have a young baby, or if you're expecting a child, super important. You may not want to do it for yourself, but make sure that they do have one that's flame retardant free. And when you're buying their clothes, all of their clothes